Okay, we are recording.
I call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Warrenville Public Library District. It is Wednesday, April 21st, 7:05 p.m. I don't have to read these meeting procedures, do I? Trustee DeRocher.
Here. What am I?
Trustee Lazan. Here. Trustee Richardson. Here. Trustee Ritzika.
Present.
Trustee Stoll.
Present.
Trustee Warren.
Present.
Trustee Pika is also present, and in the room are Jackie Davis and our library director, Sandra Whitmer. We do not have any remote, so I can skip that one. We need to have an approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda the trustees wish to make at this time?
Well, I guess we can remove the approved trustee remote participation. And that was probably about it.
Do we need to do that?
I think we're past it. So.
Yes. Anything else? I think Heather, we're past it, so we'll just move on. Can I get a motion to approve the rest of the agenda?
I'm wondering if I should add a second closed session for discussion of the budget.
It's up to you. It's discussion of a specific position, but you can do that.
Yeah, I'd like to add a second closed session for discussion of the budget.
Okay.
It would be a personnel discussion. We can't
I guess it would. Yeah, okay.
We can't discuss the budget in closed session, but we can discuss.
You're right. Well, so would it fit into the top one?
It would fit into the top.
Yeah,
okay, then we don't need to add it.
Okay.
Compensation.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else we need to talk about? Otherwise, if I can get a motion to approve.
A second.
Motion was made by Trustee Warren and seconded by Trustee Ritzika. Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher.
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye, and the agenda is approved. Do we have any presentations?
No presentation.
Any public comments? Do you want to check? I just went off screen.
No public comments.
Any correspondence this evening?
I do have correspondence. Wake me up. Sylvia actually sent a nice thank you note, thanking everyone for the recognition of her 20 years at the library and thanking the board for the longevity bonus that she received. So,
Very nice.
oh,
Nice. Okay. And that said, if I could have Secretary Lazan read the consent agenda, please.
Consent agenda. A, approved minutes of the March 17, 2021 regular board meeting. B, receive and file financial report for March.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
I second.
Motion was made by Trustee DeRocher and seconded by Trustee Ritzika. Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye. Motion carries. Regular agenda.
I move that we pay invoices in the amount of $57,874.91 for the period of March 18th, 2021 to April 21st, 2021, including electronic payments and checks 8172 to 8266. Check number 8225 is voided.
Didn't you mean 8226?
Instead of whatever. Yes, 8226.
Jackie will make sure it's correct.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Trustee DeRocher and seconded by Trustee Warren. Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye. Moving on to item number, B on regular agenda.
I move to transfer $100,000 from the commercial checking account
to operating checking account and transfer $715,000 from money market to commercial checking account.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Rizika and seconded by trustee Lozan. Trustee Lozan?
Aye.
Trustee Rizika?
Aye.
Trustee Richardson?
Aye.
Trustee Warren?
Aye.
Trustee DeRosa?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye. Motion carries. We have no unfinished business or no new business, but on page 20 of your packet is the director's report, and I will turn the meeting over to you, Director Whitmer.
All right. I guess just a few things to update you on, as far as staffing goes. Paul has had some success with getting applications for both the full-time adult services librarian position and the part-time youth and teen services associate. We wrapped up our interviews earlier this week and should be making a decision on making offers for both of those positions by the end of this week or early next week. And Jamie and I are reviewing applicants for a part-time member services position. And we're hiring these positions now to get ready for extending our hours in June. There are additional part-time positions included in the budget that we will look to hire closer to the fall. So it's positive. We've gotten some great applicants, so we do have some choices to make. I've noted the TIF district reimbursement. I did notify the city that we're just simply not going to pursue it for the 2019 year. The total amount that we will receive was about $1,200. So there's a little more homework that I have to do about that. So I've just decided it's better to let that go and start to focus my efforts on next year's reimbursement. And then here is kind of a summary of our activities surrounding the pandemic. As you know, my favorite word this year has become pivot. We are making some changes. The CDC did announce some new guidelines that basically reiterate what we've kind of learned throughout the last year, that the virus is more likely to be transmitted through the air through respiratory droplets, not so much from surface transmissions. Due to that report, Rails drops their requirement for us to quarantine materials going into their delivery system. So we have stopped quarantining return materials here at the library. So typically we're able to get everything checked in within 1 day of them being returned. So we're inching our way back to normal or the new normal. Next week, on Tuesday, I've scheduled an all-staff meeting, and we will be discussing with staff some of our next kind of moves to start us moving forwards. Forward, we're moving forward. And things we're discussing, things like whether or not we need to maintain the greeter station, whether or not we need to maintain a 1-hour time limit in the building, whether we can place more study tables on the floor, if we can open the discovery room, not for toys just yet, but to allow full access to our board book collection and browsing. So we are going to be considering, there's a lot more to it than that, but we'll be considering some changes that we can implement with that change in our hours on June 1st, so that there's, that will be our next pivot point, I will say. I don't think at this time we'll be opening our study rooms. We're still using that for some storage of furniture and also for breaks for our staff. When we have our meals, we are not yet comfortable eating together in the same room because we're all from different households, and that requires us to remove our masks. So we do have some unused office spaces as well as some of our study rooms identified as places where individual staff can take their meal breaks.
Good to be careful.
But the list is long of things that we'll be looking at on Tuesday. So next month, I'm sure you'll hear more from us about the changes that we're making.
Do you have any sense of like what percentage of the employees are vaccinated?
Parker, we're not allowed to sit right
We can't
across from
discuss
each other because that's my question too.
I don't have an exact number because we have not been asking. However, people have been telling us because they're very excited to be vaccinated. I would say most of our staff have at least the first vaccination, if not fully vaccinated.
Well, that's good to hear.
It is, yes,
Good
yes.
for them.
And it's like a celebration every time someone comes back. But, yes, so
I mean, are we doing any compensation for the people that get vaccinated, like for sick leave or anything?
yes,
That
So
you
we-
would know, you would have to have proof that they
Yes.
had it, no?
yeah, we have a temporary policy, and we're not asking them for
That's
proof.
what I
We-
thought.
we kind of trust them. So, we have a temporary policy, and if their vaccination is during their working hours, they're given time off to go get the vaccination, and then if they have a reaction to the vaccine, they're paid for that time as well. And we have had people take time off. Me, one over there. So,
Oh, I had a band.
Yes,
Oh, a lot
I,
of people did.
yeah.
yes.
Headache.
I know, because we're asking to see the cards,
Yeah.
that's why.
We haven't been asking for that.
I
Thank
think
you,
it's
Sandy.
good you're being so proactive on what changes you want to pivot into.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
And then we did have a little fun incident, so I just included that for your entertainment.
No,
We
are
do
you
need to be
sure?
entertained, and so.
Are you sure a month is enough? I mean, that's pretty.
I think it's entertaining.
I am, and you know what? I am. I honestly, it was just two teenagers and during spring break, and they had nothing better to do, which afterwards I thought, maybe I could have given them something to do. Maybe that's the,
Instead of banning them, have them do
Right.
things. at the
What was
library.
the age? I mean,
What
was
was
it
he
high school,
doing?
junior high?
It says right here.
It's an
I think
yes.
probably high school.
Really?
Yeah, and one was a Warrenville resident, one was a Wheaton resident. I think they're just buddies from school. And it was fine. The police handled it very well.
Highlight of the day.
Probably highlighted their day. But we had been having some problems with the plumbing. So I was a little worried that maybe they had been here earlier in the week or previously and were putting cans down the toilet, but I don't think that was the case.
No.
Thankfully. So, anyway, that was our excitement last month.
Wonder why they chose black beans.
I don't know.
Probably something.
After they left,
What they had.
Just so I tell you that this coaching sessions, after they left, I began to think, oh my goodness, because I'm supposed to be thinking about flipping my perspective and seeing if there's something more than my first assumption happening. And I got home that night and thought, maybe they were just hungry and that was their lunch. Why did they pour it down the sink?
You're most generous.
I was trying to give them, yes, how do I give them the
that was
benefit of the
nice.
doubt?
And they tripped and it flew into the sink.
They must have been mischievous.
Right, those were the leftovers, we thought they could, smash them down the sink.
My sister tried it once with a hot dog. It didn't do well either.
No.
My parents found out.
Seriously, I think it's really admirable for people to challenge their assumptions about things like that.
I'm trying.
And I mean, it's what we need more in this world, in the climate that we have right now.
Right.
So, yay, I'm glad you did that.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, okay, what do we need to do in future years during spring break? So the kids have a place to come and something to do that will
Yeah,
keep them
I think
out
that's
of
great.
trouble, but
Yay.
big goals. Anyway, okay. So that really, I think that was it for my report.
Can
Make
the
that-
FOIA request?
Yes, and I'm sorry I left off a Y for
I
the
just
salary.
noticed that too.
I just noticed that.
Who is Nancy?
Nancy Conrad is I believe she's the president of the library board at the West Chicago Public Library.
I just was curious.
Yes.
It was one. The rest of it I kind of got.
And the last two on here really technically, were not Freedom of Information Act requests, they were more reference questions, but they used the Freedom of Information Act email to make their request, so I have to record it as a Freedom of Information Act.
I know Anna Rofi.
Do you?
She's my daughter's best friend, my
Oh.
youngest daughter.
Fun.
I'm just puzzled
Okay.
over that.
Okay, that's it for me. And statistics, you can see
I love this new
how
format.
that's laying out.
It's amazing.
Again, the numbers, the use of our collection continues to increase. And you can see in the interlibrary loans section that we received almost 1,700 items from Swan Libraries, and we sent out just over 2,000.
And is there any, that's a question I did have, is there any liability for, I can't think right now, to the staff, are they being overwhelmed by that amount of?
It is, the difference is, for interlibrary loans, we used to do anywhere from 200 to 300 interlibrary loans in a month. So obviously the resource sharing has increased in Swan. And the work of processing those 200 to 300 items used to fall primarily to the adult services staff who had to do the requesting on the computer, and the member services, the circulation desk staff who then processed those items when they came in. Now this is all done through just our shelvers checking in. It's pretty automated, but it has fallen very heavily onto the shelving staff.
It just was such a big number.
It
that I
is,
was
it is
concerned.
huge. And when you think about this, for every item received, you know, we receive it here, but we also, when it gets checked in, we have to ship it back out. And there's a little extra step to putting those bins back into the delivery system. But Swan has a pretty good system for that. They've automated, it used to be you had to hand write a delivery label for each item, and now it's just automatic. We have a sticky receipt printer, we call it, and the delivery label just prints and we put it on each item. So for the most part, it's been automated and it works pretty well.
So some of that 1693, the returns are included in that 2006.
No,
You
no,
don't track the returns of the material we got in.
we do not.
Okay.
So they're basically
So that return, the sent to Swan Libraries could be even larger when you start dumping in.
what's being returned to us. The sent to Swan Libraries are the Warrenville library materials that are being shared out to the other Swan members.
Do they use our call number system?
They do, each library kind of has their own system. Most use something similar, but the actual call number may differ. So examples of that would be in our juvenile collection, our children's collection, we may use a J on some of our items for juvenile and then or junior, and another library may use a Y for youth or a C for children. So there are very subtle differences, but what's nice about those differences is it helps us not, we make sure that we're shipping those materials back. If one of those materials gets mixed into our collection, it just doesn't quite look right. So it's a kind of a flag for us, like, oh, this one doesn't belong here. We take it out and send it back to the library. But honestly, that really hasn't happened too much where we've mixed in, it hasn't happened at all, to my knowledge, where we've mixed in something from another library into our shelves. We haven't found that anyway. But I would say overall, Swan, still a good move for us.
Good.
And programming, I think Paul mentioned, you can see here, these are the total programs, but I think in his report, it breaks out a little more into, you know, how many watched the live Zoom session and how many watched the recorded session. I did just finish the grant report for the Sunday music matinees. And it was amazing to me. We had 6 concerts, and the total attendance between people watching it live on Zoom and people watching the recorded session, it was around 475 views, which we couldn't do that if we were just here in the building. We don't have the capacity for that. So when you ask about will some of that continue, I definitely think we're gonna try to make that happen.
Well, it's nicer when it's recorded because a lot of times when it's a program here, you can't make that time because of all the conflicts. Is this, if you've got it in a library where people can view it wherever they want, listed.
Right.
They can view it whenever.
Right.
Are there any presenters who do not allow you to record and play it on YouTube?
Some, yes, they do not allow it to be recorded. They'll do the presentation live, but you cannot record it and share it. Others have limits to how long. They may say, oh, you can share the recording for 1 week after the session. So, yes. It's all a little different.
Any other questions for Sandy? If not, we'll move on to the department head reports. They start on page 24. If we have any questions, now would be a good time. Jackie, who services the partition?
Holding partition, it's called. It's the company that installed it.
I just wondered if you could- I
We
like
haven't used it at all this last year.
I like having the member services information in Janie's report. I think that's great. And no champagne yet, guys. It's at 61%, but that's because there's really not too many other options. So I'm not taking the ball. No, I'm teasing. And I like the new library cards. Wow.
So I will,
You have to get rid of what we have. I like my
no,
new
you do
one.
not have to get rid of the card that you have.
I like that.
I think I'm gonna unmute the managers in case you guys have questions for them. So, Jamie, would you like to share with them which of these card designs was selected?
Yeah, do you want me to, I don't have my camera on. Do you want me to bring it into the room?
You don't have to bring, well, you could. They would like to see it. Yes, that would be great.
We're just nosy, Jamie.
I will be right there.
All right,
Thank you.
Learn.
It's down to 5, but they're gonna teach you to go
I
on
was just
different.
trying to tell the difference between the top one and the bottom.
Me too, I can't figure it out.
The blue line and then the orange line.
Yeah, the lines are different.
Yeah,
The
lines are
Oh, the reverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the hard copy proof of our library cards that we have ordered. Kathy in marketing and I worked on the designs. So this is what our new cards will be. This is first time we've ordered since 2015. So our cards have lasted quite a while. We still have, I think, about 500 of the
Excellent.
purple cards. So we'll definitely still be continuing to use
Oh,
them.
those are different than these, aren't they?
No,
it's
the
the
bottom
bottom
one.
one.
Oh, okay, I just didn't see it, okay.
it's hard to see.
It is hard to read.
It's that-
Beautiful. Great work. Thank you.
We'll be
That's
getting another
nice.
3D effect.
Pardon me?
I like the 3D effect.
Very
On
cool.
that card, yeah.
Good
That was
job.
fun.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
I don't know what she wanted.
So if we wanted a new physical card, would we have to get a new number?
Yes,
Dang.
yeah, I know. You get a new card,
Too?
you have to get a new number. We haven't discussed whether or not there would be a charge. There would be a charge for a new card?
$1.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's 50.
Jamie, is there a charge?
Might not be your office yet. I don't think we've really discussed that too much yet. Paul, is there anything that you wanted to point out on your report this month?
We did get a nice, some nice feedback from a member from the National Museum of Mexican Art virtual tour that Nora put together. So it was very well received, and she was looking forward to more programming about Mexican culture. So I thought that was a very nice thing to put in the report there.
Nice.
And Paul, I know it'll be in next month's report,
Mhm.
but you could talk a little bit about the ESL, the conversation group that Nora has kind of coordinated.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a weekly ESL virtual conversation program through collaboration with the People's Resource Center. And so far, there's only 8 registrations available just because of the format, but we're already consistently having at least 7 participants each week. And I'm sure once we could do that in person, that the attendance will definitely go up. But it's so far steadily going really well.
That's super.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any questions for Kathy? Or Kathy, did you want to share anything from your report this month?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
There you are.
Well, I would just like to say I'm excited about the Warrenville Bike Rodeo coming up. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, you want to come do show and tell?
Yeah, let me show and tell.
Competition for who's the best Vanna White. You know, in the interim, I could ask a question. Jamie and Paul tackled the topic of polls, how public service staff should respond to member inquiries. Was there a conclusion? Is that still in progress? I just was interested about what that discussion entailed and which direction we were going.
Jamie, did you hear that question?
Oh,
Yes, I did.
Okay, Kathy's here with show and tell, so we're gonna have to.
All right.
So I imagine I could go stand out on Butterfield Road and you could still see this bag. It does come under reflector strips and great big Warrenville Library logo. So we bought 150 of them. That's the estimate the woman at the city gave me for. They hope to get that much in attendance at the bike rodeo. Diana and I will be there handing out the bag with a few little goodies inside.
Like what, Kathy?
We also, we got some of these fancy reflectors.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Nice.
And we have some leftover bling. Some of you might remember
It's
this
still
one.
blinking your flash.
I know. If you could keep that on as you're driving down the prairie path. Driving, riding, whatever.
If you want.
All right.
So we've got some fun stuff in here. Plus, we will have a few a rec card talking about our bike and cycling resources. We have several books. We have several offerings available, e-magazine offerings.
Can you check out a bike here?
Would that be cool or what?
That would be cool.
You know, like
A divvy bike stand, there you go.
along with some cross-country skis to go.
Yeah, there you go.
Go over in them. So yeah, I'm excited. Diana and I will attend the event and give out our stuff. And if it gets rained out, we have a backup plan for using these bags at other events that we hope to be at, maybe later this summer.
All right.
I love that you got the reflector strips on the bag. That's great.
Yeah. I have not heard, I've been watching, Sandy, have you seen anything on National Night Out?
I have not heard anything about National Night Out.
I mean, I've not seen anything nationally or like locally if our city would be trying to host it. So, in summer days,
Summer days I saw.
Okay.
And so on the prairie, it was in the last, whatever the park district sends out.
Right. So yeah, there are other opportunities and that we can come up with to make sure we get our logo out there.
I love that guy.
Great.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
There's an office complex on Warrenville Road that you can rent bikes.
Really? And there is a new bike shop
Yeah.
at the corner.
Really?
Don't drink and
By the
drive.
wine.
Yeah, by the bike, that's what mine.
That makes me so happy. We
Yes.
needed one. Oh,
Yes.
that's so great.
Yes.
I had no idea.
And while we're talking about bikes quickly, you all know that the city is planning to build a permanent bathroom out here. They have lots of improvements planned for the bike path, which is phenomenal. Unfortunately, they just received word from Commonwealth Edison that they cannot place the bathroom where they intended.
Oh.
Originally, they were told that they could put it where it was going to go, and so they're back to the drawing board a little bit to find an alternate location for that. So those improvements might be delayed just a bit more than we anticipated. So.
That will definitely save on people using LDAP.
Yes, it will, and they'll be there when we're not open, which will be nice. So that's okay. So that was Kathy's report.
Wait, where's Everton Flats? Which one is that?
Everton Flats is on Route 59 near the Culvers.
Oh, okay.
So there are townhouses there and there are apartments. So Everton Flats is the apartment.
And what's
Those
the
are very
one on the
modern.
opposite side that's over, that when you turn down the, Thornton's?
Duke?
Yeah, Duke.
Yeah, there's some more apartments, but I don't know the name of them.
I can't recall the name of it.
That's a nice gas station.
Who's this Reverend Williams? How did he get him?
So Reverend Williams is pastor of the church that is out in that area.
Oh.
Where those new townhomes are. And he offers his church, he goes and greets new residents. So he offers it just as a service to businesses and organizations in Warrenville. We can give him materials and he takes them out as part of a welcome.
Is that the church on Butterfield, Blanchard?
Blanchard,
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. But
You do that, Joe?
Well, we don't have a building to go greet people from right at the moment. Actually, we do. We just bought it, but it's uninhabitable.
oh, that's exciting.
It is.
Pritzker took out the bathroom.
All right, so that's their technical services. You can see materials started coming in.
Did we get an answer on the holds?
Oh, no, we didn't get an answer on the holds. Sorry.
I just am curious.
So
Yes.
All right.
So I was just about to raise my hand. So yes, Paul and I had met up and talked about holds. One of the main issues we were having was that members had been on holds for an extended period, in line for holds for an extended period of time for new items. And we did experience an error with our vendor earlier in this year. And they were, once resolved, working to ship new publications to us as soon as possible. So that was definitely one issue we were dealing with, where members were like, why hasn't this item come in for me yet? So I think since we've now been successfully getting orders in again, that seems to have helped a lot with member concerns about holds. And I think one of the biggest things in the transition from a standalone library to joining SWAN was how to answer what number am I in line for my holds. Because if you look, if we look in workflows across SWAN, you could be number 250. But then if we look at, your hold requests just on like Warrenville copies, maybe you're number 3 in line. So our Warrenville members do have priority over our copies that have requests on them. So I think now people are starting to get a better understanding of it, of how the holds process works. And we've gotten so much positive feedback about requesting through SWAN and how quickly the items are coming in. We have a lot of excited members, both Warrenville members, SWAN members, and our reciprocal non-SWAN borrowers. So at least from member services standpoint, I think the original issue, the biggest thing was the error with our vendor not getting in our new publications. But I've seen less and less instances of people bringing their concerns of, I requested this, why hasn't this come in for me yet? So I think we've worked through those initial kinks with the holds.
Very good. I was concerned it was that we were having issues with how long we hold books once they are received. I'm glad to hear that wasn't the issue. Thank you.
Welcome.
So that ties into the technical services report this month. As JV mentioned, we did have some issues with receiving materials from one of our vendors. So in March, those materials started to come in and we added almost 1,000 books to our collection. So the girls back in services were very busy getting those ready and out onto the shelves. That was kind of what kept them busiest. And then the last department report is from Cynthia. I don't know if anybody had questions for Cynthia, or Cynthia, did you have anything you wanted to point out in particular this month?
Yeah, I did have a handful of things to highlight. We did get a brand new ScanStation PC with a 21-inch widescreen monitor, which is actually in portrait mode, so it becomes a tall monitor. So if you haven't actually seen that over at the ScanStation, you might want to stop by and check it out. We also completed the replacing of the additional 6 public PCs that were inactive, and then also went ahead and opened them up. So we currently are operating with a full 12 public PCs available. And then Jamie and I also worked to identify and select new barcode scanners for the public side of the member services desk. So they're basically just a lot more public friendly in the way that they give people a target for their barcode and then have the green dot similar to the self-check scanners that let people know when they've had a successful read.
That's great. And Cynthia and Paul, I believe, ordered the radon detectors that Rick had suggested.
Yep.
I am the holdup for those getting into circulation right now. There's a little bit of cataloging that I have to follow up on with Swan, but once those are ready to go, we'll get those into circulation.
If this is a Cindy question, I guess I was just intrigued when I heard that we're getting a new people counter, and I didn't know if I could, it sounded like, I was curious about that.
The people counter?
Yeah.
The people counters that we have right now
Are real
very,
people.
what?
Aren't they real people?
Well, right now they're real people because the people counters that we actually have at the door, the automatic people counters are failing. And they're very, very basic. They require an open paper clip to push in to get the reading, and it's almost too simple. The counters that we're planning to replace them with have a more robust reporting system, so we'll be able to tell, you know, hour by hour how many people are in our building, and that can help us make decisions on, you know, hours of operation in the future. And there's also, we should have implemented these counters earlier in the pandemic, but they actually have software that maintains a count of how many people are in your building. So it shows what the building capacity is throughout the day. So hopefully we won't have to use that again, but that capacity is there. But really the data that we can get from this new system would be really, I think, very helpful for everyone. And probably more accurate than the ones that we have right now.
When do we anticipate getting those?
We haven't reached out to them yet, and there is some, you know, wiring. We have to decide how that wiring has to be laid out. And our upstairs entrance may be a little challenging because it's an open atrium and it's high up, but they seem pretty confident that, you know, they've dealt with a lot of different building styles and they have a solution for everybody. So, and I'm confident. I've heard good things about the company from other libraries. So, yeah, Jackie will be happy. Whatever makes Jackie happy.
I don't have to.
She's got a door.
Yeah, we have. Yes,
Oh, really?
the numbers on this other device are very small, and we use our cell phone flashlight to be able to see it, and the number's just not accurate. So, yeah.
Does that have a phone app?
It does. The new system does
The new
have a
one.
phone app.
That's cool.
Not this one.
No, I didn't expect that.
No,
Because how old is the current?
the current one is
Maybe 5?
at least.
What is it?
Well, we had replaced them one time.
That's true.
We bought it
5
from
years.
Genco, which is a library
There,
supplier.
it's a little box, it's about this big. When you leave, it's on, I believe it's
On the right hand
side.
side as they walk out.
I just love the idea, it's like a running.
Yes, I was just
think
gonna
that's
say, it's like,
wonderful.
it's almost like, this one would be good, but
It is a running count.
Yeah, I like that.
the one we have now is almost like a pedometer style readout,
Yeah.
little. All right,
Anything else, department head reports? Okay, folks, so President's report, our next meeting will be Wednesday, the 19th at 7 p.m. We will not be having a committee of the whole at 6 p.m. as we discussed earlier. I do have 2 things to share with you that are not in your packet. And I'm just going to read this, it's going to be easier. It's from Rails. Is your library board thinking about a new strategic plan? You are invited to Rails Online Roundtable Strategic Planning for Trustees on Tuesday, May 11th from 12 to 1 p.m. Central. This event will include a short presentation by Greg Kronowitz from Greg Kronowitz Library Consulting. Greg will discuss the importance of strategic planning for public library boards and what trustees should consider when heading into a strategic planning initiative. The event will also include a breakout session with an opportunity to connect with other trustees from around Rails. There will also be a Q&A. All public library trustees from Rails member libraries are invited. The presentation portion of this event will be recorded. So I guess I would say that if you are interested, Sandy can register you. I will leave this in case you want to review and see if that is something that interests you. The second piece of business I have, and again, I think it's just easier if I read. This is, some of you may know Connie Schmidt. Hello, President Pika. I'm representing an organization called the DuPage Monarch Project and would love the Warrenville Library Board to consider signing a resolution to promote healthy habitats for monarchs to help preserve this threatened species. Our website is DuPageMonarchs.com, and you can read about our program here. And then she gives her contact information. So this is asking us to do a resolution. I don't know if that's a priority for us now. And I'm just doing my editorial comments here. I don't know that we would want to commit to this via resolution, if that's something that's warranted for the library board to do. And Sandy did offer, there are no other libraries in this area that in DuPage that have signed on and done a resolution. So I guess I would ask the sense of the board.
I think they might not have done it yet, but I think she has quite a few organizations, including the city and the park district.
She does, right. There are lots of municipalities and lots of park districts that have already adopted it, but I don't know of any libraries that have adopted a resolution.
That'd be kind of cool.
I think it'd be great for us to have all of our public bodies supporting it. And we already do so much monarch stuff here anyway. We have a habitat here. I don't know why we would not do it, actually. I mean, what would be the reason not to do it?
My question is, does it commit us to doing more?
That's a good question for Connie.
And are you willing to do similar resolutions for other organizations that were already doing these basically for? I mean, that we have collections and programs.
Well, a resolution is a fairly innocuous thing, really. So it just means answering the question of whether it commits us to other things is pretty important.
Do we have have we drafted any other resolutions of this nature?
No, I reviewed the sample resolutions that were provided to me last year. It was just before the pandemic that Connie came and talked to me about this. And they did commit, like the city is committed to maintaining and planting and those sorts of things, the park district as well. So to me, it seemed the resolutions that they were using there was a financial, an ongoing commitment
to it
by the organization.
All right, well, that would be an important question to find out. Do you want me to follow up with her?
to the board, I guess. You know, how you feel.
I would just say, I think on the story, the idea that what we do for one, we have to do for all. I don't know that I'm particularly in favor of joining the other two, the city and the park district, because they're doing it at a different level than I think we would be willing to commit to. But that's just me, so.
Because I mean, I think it's a great idea for the community, but I guess I'm worried that it maybe doesn't necessarily fit in with our mission. And again, if we're committing to that, and again, I don't know if it's gonna open the door to, you know, if somebody's gonna come back and say, well, why didn't you do it for me, type things. So, I mean.
You know, I
I
feel like this is really.
There may be no harm in asking her to draft a sample library resolution.
Yeah, okay.
They may have one. It's been over a year since I looked, but. Are you okay with?
I was just gonna say, is everyone, I've heard Barbara say she's willing to follow up. Is everyone willing to let her follow up and see what a sample?
I don't think there's any harm in that.
I think that's a good suggestion. And are you still willing, Ms. DeRocher?
I am.
Thank you. And then we add that to next month's agenda for a follow-up. Future items are listed on page 33. And then there is another training opportunity on May 13th if you're interested. Again, Sandy needs to know, and that one's by May 13th. I think on the one that I read about, the Rails one, probably need to know by the 1st of May.
And when is that Rails one again?
The Rails one is May 11th from 12 to 1. And if you are interested, that's about strategic planning. Why don't you let Sandy know on that one by May 1st? And then the one in your packet, she's already asked for your response by Thursday, May 13th. And Rick, that one is on Saturday, May 22nd from 10 to 11:30.
Right, that I can read. But I was writing down the times and I forget to write down the date, so.
Okay, are you set now?
I'm set.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that. Okay, and next to last thing, pages 34, 35, and there's information on there's a flyer attached too. Anyway, 34 and 35 will be important next month, so you may want to review that prior to our meeting, because we will do the board reorganization. And on that note, I'd like to say this is my last official meeting. I want to thank everybody for always supporting. It's not easy to sit here. It looks easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds. I know Heather and Barbara have done it before, and it can be challenging. So thank you, and a special thanks to Jackie for always trying to hear me through the mask. And doing such a good job capturing my mutterings, and obviously to Director Whitman, who has made it a total honor and a pleasure to serve in this position. And I thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that is, next up, we will go to our secretary's report.
Everything looks good.
And last, the treasurer's report. Sorry, Heather, I skipped.
Well, the good news is that we have an updated report on developer donations. As of March 31st, there's $113,587 available. And Director Whitmer's going to request disbursements in order to pay the interest on the debt certificate that's due June 1st. So, and then on a personal note, I watched the COVID-19 webinar.
Last night?
Yes. And it was very, very interesting. I believe it's going to be out there on the Wheaton Library YouTube channel. But one of the most important takeaways that I got from that, because it was information I hadn't seen anywhere else, is if you are scheduling a mammogram, you need to do it either before you're vaccinated, or you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks after your second shot, because if you do not, because the vaccine goes through the lymphatic system, it causes your lymph nodes to swell and a false positive for breast cancer. So,
Oh, thank you.
so,
I have one scheduled in a
yes,
couple of weeks.
so, well,
And I just got my vaccine.
yeah, well, that's the thing is that I'm getting my second shot tomorrow. And I had a mammogram scheduled for 3 months on May 5th. So I changed that today. So something
Would they
very,
say 8 weeks after?
4 to 6.
I would just like to second what Heather said. The seminar was excellent. Dr. Most, I do know him, and he is a fabulous presenter. If anyone is interested, I do have the link, and I can send it to you, so just let me know.
Yeah, I'd like that.
All right.
I would.
You want it? You want it? Anybody else, let me know, and I'll do that. It was a fabulous presentation. I think he answered questions for almost 45 minutes. And there were a lot of really good questions. So, and he had a slide presentation, and it was very well done. So I will send it to Barbara and Rick.
Was it just covering the vaccinations?
Pardon?
Was it just covering stuff on the vaccine?
It was covering COVID from A to Z. He talked about so many things. And a lot of it you've heard before, but it was very interesting. It was just good to hear that stuff. Can I send the email to all of them? Yes. Yes. Okay. Any trustee comments?
Yes, I was, in a similar vein to the Monarch, it's been noticed that the bee colonies are quite low in all of these due to pesticides and herbicides and people doing all kinds of stuff with their lawns and not enough wildflowers, that they were looking for places to put beehives. And I thought that that might be of an interest that we could at least entertain. Not that we would be keeping hives, but we could work in concert with some kind of beekeepers. I know that the people at Mainland Farmers Market on the corner of, what is it? It's Mill Street and Bauer. Mill. And they have any number of bees. And then I noticed on one of the edges of the of a drive that is off of Winfield Road, there's somebody's driving, they must have 13 hives in there. I don't know who that is, but they might be interested in putting a couple, if not on the property due to the fact that little kids play around here, but maybe on the roof, that might be something that they could look at and tend. And what with the wildflowers that we have on the prairie path, that might be a
Well, to add, they love dandelions. Nobody should be killing their dandelions.
In the spring, that is their first source of
Right,
food
that is
before everything else starts
yes.
going on, and then people are killing the dandelions.
You can't kill the dandelions.
So I thought that that was something that we might entertain as well.
Yeah.
It would be fun.
We have a beehive.
It might be nice to do a program.
Considering that we,
A program.
if the bees die
I
out,
have done
then
programs.
6 months civilization can die out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that civilization with food costs a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
Shauna Coronado?
That's it.
Yeah, she thinks
I
she
don't
did.
think she did one on beekeeping, but I feel we've had a program on beekeeping with someone local.
I know somebody in our neighborhood that keeps bees.
And it's somebody in my house that keeps bees.
Oh, is that you?
No, it is not me.
Yeah, I know our summer calendar is done. I don't know if it'd be worthwhile to pursue anything like that for fall, or if it's something we'd have to wait for next spring.
I don't know how much it'd take for an established beekeeper to come up with another hive, or maybe repurpose a hive or
Right.
two. I don't know.
Is there any liability?
Jerry, you said about liability, I would reach out to my insurance agent first. I would not recommend putting it on the roof. I'm not sure I like people walking on the roof.
Well, maybe you could
It's
be
too
put
hot on a roof.
But-
They have to be in a grassy area.
grassy area, but you could have it behind us.
My brother-
cyclone
One of them
fence.
of Notre Dame actually survived the fire, so they did pretty well.
I don't know, seems like it'd be an interesting thing.
Is that something you guys want me to look into? I'm asking.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we had some at our school that were cared for by a different person who needed a space for their
Right.
bees that never, ever had a problem with, because it was set enough, far enough back that we always had problems with wasps at school at different times of year, but we never had problems with bees. And so, but you really, I mean, you have to have someone who's gonna come and care for them and,
Right.
you know,
And I'm
a-
guessing, you said that it was set far back on your property. Here, I don't know, other than if the roof is an appropriate place for it, where on our property would that go that it's not close to a place where people are?
Next
Yeah.
to these houses.
That idea, I like that.
Garbage
The city
dumpster.
actually
well, I
now
mean,
has.
especially if we start having
illegal
contours outside
zoning
again,
on
we
it.
really have to be careful.
Right.
Anyway,
Sensitivity, people with sensitivity.
I'm just
Well,
looking to hear
they
you.
can't be bothered, you know, they can swarm and then be terrible.
Yeah.
I was saying that there is actual zoning in the city on that too, so,
Oh, okay,
because we had to deal with that when we got ours.
all right,
Maybe we need roosters.
We might not have a space.
okay. Is that something you want me to look into?
we have chickens at the school. They're really a noisy group, I gotta say.
They are fun to watch, though. They're entertaining with their own little personalities.
Really noisy.
Bees aren't noisy.
No, but there could be
Anyway.
city zoning too.
Yeah, I know that my husband has a client that's having issues with zoning for having beehives.
I think it might, in Warrenville, I think it only pertains to people who are actually making money off of it, but that could be old information too.
Sandy, you said something. Rick, maybe you can, Barbara's working on the monarchs, maybe you can work on the bees
Sure.
and report back to us what you
Yes.
found out. How's that sound?
Sure.
And
Put
how
it
they
on the agenda
communicate.
next month.
I was at a church, I think it was, I've seen it twice. Once in Munich and then once in Washington DC, where churches have on their roof, little areas where they keep bees. So it's doable and it's a low impact type of thing.
I bet they're selling honey out there.
Well, I don't know, I suppose that you'd have to harvest it after a while, but we wouldn't do that. That'd be whoever we work in concert with. So they would be getting whatever would come from it, and that would be maybe their payment for minding the bees, but it'd at least be something that we could talk about. And if nothing else, have a camera up there so that people could see what was going on. And I've seen hives that have glass partitions in the back,
Yeah.
and then they
put it
take
on a
pictures
window.
of it, and you can see the bees all going nuts and just have that go. So you hook it up and the camera works, and then it's part of the feed that you can look at on the website. They do that with all kinds of bird roostings, eagles and things like that. So it's not blazing any new trails. Minimal technology to take pictures. Everybody's laptop has a camera on it, so, and every kid over 2 has a cell phone with a camera.
So you're getting back to us next.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other items we should bring up for discussion? Okay, then at this time, we do need to enter closed session. So I would need a motion to enter closed session.
We have to close this session.
I move that we move into closed session as allowed by 5 ILCS 1(2)/2C1 for for the purpose of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity.
I'll second.
Motion was made by trustee DeRocher and seconded by trustee Warren. Is there any discussion? Trustee DeRocher?
Aye.
Trustee Warren?
Aye.
Trustee Richardson?
Aye.
Trustee Rizika?
Aye.
Trustee Lazan?
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye. It is 8:06 p.m. and we are now in closed session. How are we doing on the tape?
So hold just a minute.
Everybody breathe.
What time did you enter?
8:06. And when Heather comes back, we need to take that.
Cindy, I just have to remove you from the meeting because this is a closed session. But I will, I can give you a call if you want to rejoin. Oh, she left.
She's gone.
So there.
We need to close this door now.
Okay, so we are back in open session.
And again, it's 9:11. Trustee Stahl,
Present.
trustee DeRocher,
Here.
trustee Warren,
Present.
trustee Richardson.
Here.
Trustee Ritzika.
Present.
Trustee Lazan. Here. Trustee Pika is present, as is our director, Sandra Whitmer. Trustee DeRocher.
Oh, are you telling me to?
Would you like to make your motion, please?
You wrote it down.
Okay.
You can read the motion, but we can record it as she has it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. The Warrenville Public Library District Board of Trustees has, would like to grant you a sabbatical to be taken in 1 year of today for 21, and not in conjunction with any accrued vacation time. We also are granting you a 3% salary increase.
Did you say a 4-week vacation?
Sabbatical.
I mean.
4 weeks, grant you a
Sabbatical.
4-week. Okay, so once again, it's grant, because I know you're writing it down. Grant
Well, I'll see
a
it from there. I don't know
4-week
why I'm writing it down.
sabbatical within 1 year, not in conjunction with any accrued vacation time. And you're getting a 3% salary increase.
Okay.
Would someone second that, please?
I'll
The
second
salary
that.
increase is effective in the new fiscal year, correct? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so motion was made by trustee DeRocher and seconded by trustee Warren. Is there any further discussion? Trustee DeRocher.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Stahl.
Aye.
Trustee Ritzika.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika also votes aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Director Whitmer.
Thank you.
All your help, and I think the only thing left on the agenda is what you've been waiting for all night.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All right, motion is made by trustee DeRocher and seconded by trustee Richardson. All those in favor?
Yay!
Any opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Sandy, are you collecting things? And do we need to